So now I'm going back live again after a few days testing now the sound. I believe we are correct now. I apologize for any inconvenience, and now we are going to talk about US inflation now. Back with the sound, we are confirming that we have sound. Please, to all the viewers, we are going to talk about all the inflation. We promise that I apologize for still being a newbie technology, and this will not happen again. We are going to talk about inflation again. US inflation stock by Argentinian gold trader. If you check what I have been done with this channel, the first thing I talked in this channel was about lumber prices. I created this video just for the tiny guy, for the little guys, called Gold Trader sees lumber prices for the first time. November 15 was one of the first things. It turns out that it was the best performance commodity of the next year. The prices of lumber went 70%. And was one of the first things I want to talk was in this channel, in this YouTube channel, was talked about lumber. Please let me know if you are receiving all the audio correctly in the chat, in the live chat. Please type there if you are comfortable with this live transmission, because I'm still a newbie and I have to tell you very important information. I'm going to start with more regular updates and have been very quiet for a while. So if you dark side are watching this, please let me know if you are receiving a correct transmission now with good audio. If you are out there, guy, please let me know if you are receiving good audio now. Let me know if you feel comfortable. So we worked also about the Bitcoin high in advance, and now is still in effect the high of the Bitcoin. We won in advance the 57k, and the that number is still there, and we won in advance. Let me know here when we made this video called Big Fishes in the Crypto Market in a live transmission, which we won. Bitcoin could target 57k, and we said that live. Is the audio correct? Let me know. So we won that in advance, and we also warned about the silver market opening and the high of silver, and I tried to stop all the silver fever with a character called the silver fever slayer, and we warned about the silver high, which was 30 and it's still a high. So we warned about the high of silver in advance, also live transmission. We have 3 live transmissions. The high of Bitcoin, we were warned about the incoming explosion in lumber prices, and we warned about the silver high and the Bitcoin high, and everything turned out to be correct. Check what happened to up until now. Lumber is the number 1 year-to-date asset performance, and the most impressive thing for me and for my career is that I won in advance the price of Bitcoin, and I discovered that whoever controls Bitcoin prices uses Fibonacci, and we won that the 28th of January. This is the price of Bitcoin, and we won around here that the price of Bitcoin will go exactly to this level, and that was the top. And you know what happened there? Fibonacci geometry, Fibonacci extensions. Whoever controls Bitcoin controls, and I explained the formula in a live video, which was 28 was the price minus support times 2.6018. That was the formula that explained me the high of Bitcoin 20 days in advance. It was very impressive. Now the risk in Bitcoin that it could crash massively to 28k if they don't hold this 40k level. What could happen to Bitcoin? Everybody taking profits, running from the government because they are using Bitcoin for or cryptocurrencies for money laundering according to the authorities, and for tax evasion, terrorist financing, and much more bad things, evil people. So according to the government, that's the view of the government, and they are also preparing the field for a better system, more secure and more safe and more efficient, using Janet Yellen words, efficient. And they are preparing the world for central bank digital currencies. So whoever is watching this transmission, I have even more important information now. Please confirm in the live chat that everything is okay and you're receiving everything correctly. Please say hi to whoever is following this live transmission. Please say hi if you can, and I will continue. So we have a very increasing risk in everything. We have a massive deleverage. We don't know who is going to go down with this impressive deleveraging. Maybe Tesla, because Michael Burry was fighting Tesla charts, and he was right. He was betting the silver short analyst of the movie was betting against Tesla, and he was extremely correct. And Elon Musk changed the words, and he said the keywords climate change. Climate change for me, it means that the big bosses talked to him and said, enough with your crypto games. Climate change is the keyword of the elite, and he receiving orders to stop his foolish games on Twitter, and maybe they all come together and say, hey, it's nice to take profit from time to time. So what we are going to see is big movement for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin can't hold the 40k level, it will crash massively and it will be nasty, and they will cry and they will use Elon Musk as the guy who is the Shiva and he brings the destruction of the wars. So he will be the Shiva, and one of the things that keeps me comfortable as a silverback, I'm not a die-hard silverback, I'm trying to be a smart silverback, which means buy low, sell high, and stack low for the future. And I believe full prices will not be stopped because all these central banks will need a buffer of time to see the inflation stable, and maybe they will allow inflation to overshoot because they prefer that instead of killing the economy, and they will allow inflation to go up. And the models of them are not reflecting the real inflation, at least the published or the public models are not reflecting the inflation that is happening now. But I believe they will play with the game, and they will play and they will allow inflation to go up. And the food prices explosion after a pandemic, it's the same thing that it happened centuries ago with the Black Plague. We have supply risk. With the Black Plague, a lot of people die. Lots of farmlands were destroyed. The levels of farmland and the crop production went down, and that created massive food prices, increasing food prices later after the Black Plague. And now we are seeing the same thing, but not because of complete destruction of lives. We have only 2 million lives lost, but we have supply risk. Argentina banned this week beef export. We are talking about the top 5 exporter of beef in the world, and Argentina banned corn exports in December. This is all temporary measures, but they are just the first signals that everything is cracking down, and we are going to see quite is risk on risk of sentiment switching. But for me, the risk on sentiment in inflation is going up, and the crude oil prices could go up to 70 per barrel. The WTA, I'm talking about WTI, always about WTA. We are going to see potentially a test of 30, most likely as the maximum target for me for 2021. If it goes above that, it will surprise me. I believe the 30 level will be heavily defended again. Is gold a good hedge against inflation? No, it is not. If you check all commodities and check precious metal, it's pathetic. They are below the prices of 10 years ago. So whoever tells you, hey, buy gold and protect yourself against inflation is a liar. Please check the charts. No protection. Gold will protect you about fat tails risk, the extreme tail risk, where everything goes down, but it will not be a hedge against inflation. That's not. Gold is extreme risk scenario hedge. When everything goes down, all the currencies of the world, all the governments fail, gold should react, and that was how. And that happened a bit with the COVID crisis, but it was not real a hedge against inflation from historical performance. So what happens with the gold reserves controlled by the European Central Bank? Will they destroy the price of gold if inflation starts to get out of control? You can say that, but it could happen. And an international intervention of the gold market like in the past, that could happen. Yes, it could happen, and you will be holding nice gold bars in the middle of inflation. That could happen. So I believe you have to pick your best inflation hedges correctly. I believe silver is a good hedge, but not the perfect one. From historical point of view, lacks of historical protection. So if you check silver prices, it was stuck for years and not protecting anyone from inflation. That could happen again. I believe that is not the case of multinationals. Multinationals will hedge themselves against inflation using very low and cheap interest rates. So I believe that stocks are a better hedge that tips bonds or inflation adjusting bonds, and also be a better hedge than gold. If we could see that Bitcoin is not heavily attacked, and because now everybody will sell of fear will set in the crypto market if this level is crushed. So we are going to see a capitulation, a crash, a bigger crash in crypto. So they need to hold here at all costs. They need to hold this level. Maybe we just seen a temporary correction and then we go back up, because you have to choose between 21 million units like Bitcoin and unknown gold reserves, and most of them controlled by governments. Which of these two assets will you choose from the supply risk perspective? It's a very interesting question, because we are talking about a crypto asset, speculative, and we are talking about something more tangible and traditional like gold with unknown gold reserves. You don't know international gold reserves. I don't know, only the published ones. So you had in the fundamental analysis, you have to have faith in the statistics of the governments about gold reserves. Do you have faith in them? I don't know. So we are seeing that who will win in inflation? Those who will win will be the corporations that will hedge against inflation smartly and not exposing themselves to assets that could be taxable from desperate governments. What happened in 2010? Australia was punished with a gold profits taxation by the Australian government. If you remember that, with 40% tax on profits on the gold miners. Argentina did the same with the soy profits on the soy exporters. So you have to be smart where you will position for inflation. You have to be directly exposed to inflation, and you have to escape at the same time of taxation. So I believe that those who are best exposed to commodity prices and also are able to escape from taxation will be the best performance. Cryptocurrencies are here to stay, and I believe that central bank digital currency is a game that it needs time. It needs time to develop by the central bankers, but the architecture has already been published. The design architecture and the use of multi-cross payment platforms, the role of the central bank digital currencies are there. So a quick recap. We warned about the lumber prices. Now is the number one commodity performance. We warned about the silver high of 30 with the silver fibers layer, with a concept we gave to the silver community, warning that a massive crash of silver was coming. If you remember to this live concept of February 28, and we warned that the low of silver price was in after that. All because silver repeated a 2011 pattern of psychological fever. So we went around here and tweeted that the low was in and silver is going up. I believe silver, if you are ready, you can control your emotions, you can stack and support silver below around 24. Maybe you can see silver way above 30 in the next year. Way above. This is one of my best. Do I pick silver as my hedge? No, I picked a very limited 500 units in the world silver coin, because I know there will be more than 500 units of that silver coin. The Asian coin market is hot, and you should pick correctly what will be your hedges. Try to get exposed to commodities that with companies that pay dividends, and they won't tax you when they see huge profits, like it happened with Australia in 2010, and like it happened in Argentina with the soy exports. When governments fail, they will attack the hot markets and the investors involved in that hot markets. So I don't think that bond market is a way to protect. Better, we are going to see commodities sectors back and hot again. That's my opinion, and it will be most likely the food prices the most hot market in the coming years because of the reactions, and because I don't believe in the theory that we're going to see strong world market recovery. I believe that the distraction is not complete, and I believe that the price of food prices will be the best, one of the best. This is a very violent. This is a corn chart, and if you check the prices of corn and the prices of silver, there are different patterns, but there is more violence in the future for the corn prices. This is a very violent move. This is like a rush. This is a corn rush. Yes. So this corn rush is not over. I believe that we may see a pause, but the violence in the food charts is very different to the movements in the precious metal charts. So I am more enthusiastic about food prices than about the future performance of the precious metals. And if I feel a bit more unsecure, let me show you cotton. Check what happened to cotton. Cotton is a beautiful commodity because it's saying, hey, I'm not going nowhere, and it has a beautiful top there, respected for more than a decade. So once I see cotton about this level, I know inflation is big. It's big, and because cotton is still stuck there, it's fighting there, and I believe cotton will also react to this top, and it's going to crush it, and it only needs to move about this and it will explode. So it's a beautiful commodity because it's very behind the curve of inflation, and it's still below 2008. This is still below the high of 2008, and the high. This is a dog, a nice dog in the career, and I follow cotton because I believe this is a cheap. I don't believe there's going to be explosion like it happened here. This is an outlier movement. I don't believe that. But if I want to feel safe and say, hey, I need a safe canary in the coal mine. Okay, cotton is for me a nice canary in the coal mine because it is still below 2008 and it's high too. What happened with lumber? I warned one of the first things. I say, hey, I warned in November. Check here. I was here in November. I was saying, hey, there's going to be an explosion. Be careful with lumber. It was 600 at that moment, the highs, and bam, explode. It was a big explosion here. 600 and now 1600. This was explosion of lumber, and this could happen with food prices. The same characteristics of the same charts. So you need to get ready for even higher. This is just the beginning of very, very big explosion. This kind of violence in the lumber prices, this would happen. It is kind of violence in the food prices. I'm very, very, very concerned about the future of the food prices. Check, this is the same. This is like the first wave in the lumber chart. This is like a first wave. So if this continue, we're going to see extreme violence. I'm bullish. This is my opinion. I'm technically bullish. I am not endorsing or making some financial advice or investment. I'm just saying that this looks like a very bullish pattern. This is my opinion, and we keep that. So if you check corn prices, extremely violent, but hey, you are still below a decade ago. You're still below a decade ago. So if this pattern is complete, the violence will be impressive. I'm going to see very, very high levels in corn. And what happened with the large traders according to all these cut reports? They are going bullish. All the large traders, very bullish now. and the commercial hedges are increasing their positions. I don't know what we're going to have. It's going to be the short-term market take a profit-taking scenario. The time is running out, but from the long-term perspective, this could be it. This could be very, very violent. What will happen to the S&P 500? S&P 500 will be the last game in town. I don't know if you know that there is a repo market created by the Bank of England and using the S&P 500 ETFs as reserves. Impressive. So now S&P 500 ETF is a monetary reserve for Japan from a long time. So inflation is bad for lots of corporations, so it's going to be a rebalancing and it's going to be volatility. So be careful with stocks unless you are a very good stock picker, and get it ready for these scenarios. Will the Federal Reserve control inflation? They have tools to control inflation, but I on the side, according to the hints, that they will allow inflation to go up and stabilize even higher before doing something. They don't want to kill the recovery, and they want to help the new administration, as the Federal Reserve always do. So they are there to protect levels of employment, and they will do that. So inflation is here to stay, and one of the best interesting things that is very surprising for me, there was a very noise that the Federal Reserve was discontinued money statistics, and they changed the frequency of a very old statistic. That was something captured by some gold analysts. And if you check the Federal Reserve charts, they are behaving a bit like Argentinian style. If you check the Federal Reserve debt chart, which is it's behaving like the Argentinian peso chart, which is the same pattern, and it talks about trouble ahead. The same pattern. It will go. It's the first time in the first quarters from last year that it went vertical. So the Federal UN American Federal Reserve debt is going vertical from now, and this is going to get crazy because this is the first time it gets vertical. And you should respect this chart because it's the same chart of the Argentinian pesos US dollar pair. This is the first movement, and it also is a parabolic movement like the tulip mania and like the Argentinian peso crash. So this is the first time it goes vertical, and it means trouble ahead for the Federal Reserve levels and for the stability of the US dollar value. So all the signals are getting there that trouble is ahead and can't be stopped. It cannot be stopped for me because it is too late. It can be only slowed down. They can slow down, but they won't do it because there is too much risk of killing the recovery. So I hope you enjoy this quick video update, and I'm going to restart more regular updates. And we want a lot of things and all happen. And please stay tuned because I'm going to produce more content as soon as I am able to do that. I will try to make more regular weekly updates, and I hope you enjoyed because all the predictions have turned true, and this is very satisfying to see reality happen, because one of the best things is to check that the patterns repeat itself, and the great discovery that whoever controls the cryptocurrency follows these charts or the geometry behind the Fibonacci levels. That was amazing for me because in new crypto I never knew I could never imagine that the respect to the Fibonacci level was so precise, and I'm going to show you again the precision of how we mark the top of the Bitcoin high, 57k, and it's impressive, and I'm still in shock that we could warn in advance with this formula the high of Bitcoin, and it crashed. So, and now the risk is extreme for Bitcoin. It's extreme for an additional capitulation of the market. So a final recap. We warned about the high of Bitcoin in 28th of January. It was this level. I say, hey, explosion is coming for Bitcoin. 28, the price of Bitcoin was 33, the high. I say, hey, the high will be 57k, and it respected like a charm. Even on May, the same level. Once they pick the level, it was a Fibonacci with this formula. Once they pick a target, they will respect it. And this is an outlier, but they respected that level. It's so impressive for me. To be one of the few who picked the Bitcoin high live on YouTube, and we were one of the few YouTubers who also warned about the lumber prices, which is the number one asset this year, on November. So I am very worried because food prices. Argentinians are very upset. This is a land of grillers and meat eaters, and there is a tradition for barbecues, and the price of meat is going up, and we are blocking all meat exports and beef exports, being a top 5 exporters. And this is very scary for food prices if we are not able to stabilize the supply risk in the world supply demand balance in the food prices. So this is going to be scary if they don't control inflation, and the only way to control inflation is with very negative tools that will harm world economy. So I believe the best solution and the less damage solution is allow inflation to kick in the world market. This could be most likely the preferred scenario for central bankers, and I am follow them. I try to read the lips, and this is what my lip reading skills are telling me now. So we warn lumber prices, the number one asset in this year. We warn about the Bitcoin high 20 days in advance. We warn about the silver price, all in live transmission high this year, and I believe silver will be 30 this year and maybe even higher next year. Most likely silver is a good investment, but not a protection against inflation. That's fake. All those guys in the civil community, hey, protect yourself against inflation, be smart, squeeze the market, all the nice and fanatical stories. Sorry guys, if you check the charts, you are liars. You won't get your protection against inflation. Check the stability of silver with inflation going up and silver going nowhere, and silver crashing for what, 9 years. What is the protection against inflation? And I won't study long-term charts, only then what happened in the last 10 years. A big distraction of your wealth and no protection. So no bullshit allowed in this channel. Silver and gold will not protect you against inflation, but it's a good idea to invest in commodities which are lower than it was 10 years ago, when inflation is coming. We know inflation is coming and the signals are already in the market. So it's a good idea to buy the dogs, because the dogs are alive and showing some reactions, and this is a good idea. So I need your likes, and please call people, share this video, because if you help me to get to 1,000 subscribing. This is a channel I have to make more regular updates because everything is working here. I will create more content. If you help me subscribing and recommend this channel, this could grow. I could make this more frequent. You can send me all the questions to my email if you want, and I'm going to, this is my email if you want to ask me everything. What is my job? My job is to predict the future for a big bank. I want to say only in this video, and I won't talk about Maria. I have a team of people. Yes, I work for a big bank, and I can talk about that for ethical reasons, but I always tell you the truth, and I will show you the information that will allow you to arrive to the truth, but not by my words, because I cannot tell everything to you for ethical reasons. So we will tell you the truth through the information I will present you, but I won't make you an opinion about what you are seeing. That will be my language to tell you about the things I cannot talk. Goodbye, dark side. Thank you for helping me. This will be the language. Adios, and I hope you enjoy this video update. Goodbye.